Jacqui Pugh is a world-known full life transformation coach that has chosen to give extra TLC to singles and breakups. Her offerings, including her signature program, Burn, are designed to help you dig deep to become the best version of yourself. She is an author, media personality, and is constantly dropping knowledge and sharing laughter on her podcast, Let's Get Unzipped. Lighthouse Conversations welcomes Jacqui Pugh. Welcome, Jacqui.
Hi, thank you.
So you went through an awakening around 2014, so a few years ago. You've been doing this now. Can you tell the folks at home what that process was like for you? You have completely transformed, and I'd love to know what that journey was.
Yeah, well, in all honesty, I feel like there's this misconception that self-development is like frolicking in fields with rainbows and daisies and butterflies, and it wasn't like that. It is not like that when you really do the work. The way that I felt like it was locking myself in a room and performing open heart surgery on myself with handheld tools until I got all of the crap out, which is not fun. But on the other side of it, the freedom that I gained and that my clients gain is I get excited for breakdowns now. You know, because it's like, oh, this is a good one. This is a deep one. This means the breakthrough is going to be amazing.
It's almost impossible to have a breakthrough if you don't have a breakdown. And I've had moments where I'm on the floor crying, my fist pounding on the ground, and yet there's still this little voice in my head that says, this is for good. This is going to take you somewhere you've never been before, so I can totally relate. Was there a specific event that happened to you where you suddenly just, everything fell apart? Was it just like a slow trickle until one day it just exploded?
Yeah, it was more like that. But it wasn't an explosion of like, it was a slow trickle into depression. So I spent 2 months where I could barely get out of bed. And then I finally got to the point where I made it to my couch, but I sat on the couch in the same spot for a week straight. And then I asked myself, I'm like, one, I can't live like this anymore. And two, what is the common denominator in all of my unfulfillment? Because I was in a job that I hated. Everybody around me in my sphere was like, once you move to a certain place and you put your roots down and you have the boyfriend and like life is just gonna unravel, have the career. So I moved to Denver for a guy and I was gonna start my real estate career, and then the guy broke up with me 6 days after I got here. I was in real estate, it didn't fulfill me, and then I was just sitting there. I'm like, I literally gave up my life, like all of my passions, acting and all these things, for a life that I don't even have. This isn't okay. Like, I need to follow my heart. And that's when I was like, what's the common denominator here? Me. Which meant that I could change it. And that's where the power was at.
That is the most empowering thing, when you realize it's not somebody else's fault. And it's, is it happening to me or is it happening for me? Which is always one of the biggest things you can realize, to take yourself out of that victim mode. And you're the only one in charge of making it better. So when you know that it's in your realm to do that, suddenly you have the ability to change it. So I completely relate to that.
I know.
So you gave up things that you loved in order to have this life that other people thought you should have. Society's like, girl, you need the job, you need the boyfriend. And you're like, yeah, all those things are great, but my impression is that the right job and the right boyfriend will be attracted to you when you're doing what you love and not selling yourself short, not giving yourself away. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like looking back now, so I just wrote a book.
Make sure you tell our folks at home.
On how I don't know what the title is yet, though. I have like 50 titles that I love. So yeah, so we'll see. It'll come to me
50 Shades of Jack.
I think I said that.
Same wavelength.
50 Shades of Indecision. But yeah, after writing my book, or while writing my book, about how my heartbreak led to my heart's purpose, I really looked back at it and I did a lot of reflection. And one, the person that I initially moved here for, I moved for love and I didn't even love him. Like, I wasn't even in love, right? I was in love with the idea of love. And so if it had worked out, I would have been miserable. Like, we did not have fun together. We weren't friends, you know? But all of the relationships that I had been in over the years, reflecting on it, I noticed that on my very first date with every single one of them, there was this little tiny voice that was like, this isn't the one. But I was like, oh my God, I'm almost 30. And like, he's got to be the one. I'm probably just craving chocolate. Like, that's probably what that noise is. It'll be fine. And so I would push and push through it and force something that wasn't actually meant to be. And so now that I have said no to those things and dating now, unless it's like I feel like it could be the one, I'm happy being single. And now I live a life of my dreams. Like, I'm completely fulfilled. And when that person comes in, it'll be a cherry on the top, not something that I have to have.
Cheers, girl. Yes, 100%. I relate to that.
And for anybody single out there, I got really excited because I'm like, if my gut has always known when it wasn't right, then that means it's going to know when it is. And that's exciting.
That's the magic. And it's funny, you hear from a lot of people, I just knew. And I'm like, well, I just knew that he was wrong. Because yes, that happens to me a lot. That little voice. And the thing about that voice, it's so important to listen to it. It's easy to just be like, oh, swat it away like it's a little fly. But part of what we do here at Lighthouse Haven is getting you to trust that voice and to remember that that is your strongest and most wise tool. So we'll have different meditations, we'll have different exercises to help you clear the junk out of here and clear the junk out of here so you can see clearly with your head, with your heart, with your gut, because you are very wise. And I know that would not have been a wise choice for you to end up with those men in your life. And sometimes the universe says, yoink, I'm just going to pull them away from you on purpose. And you're going to wonder why, and you're going to be sad. But when you come back down to it, oh, what a gift.
And the interesting thing on that is once I hit my 20s and I was living in LA, like now that I'm really thinking about it, one guy that I dated for 6 months broke up with me. Literally, like, I found out that he was trying to date somebody else an hour after I met my life coach and found out what a life coach was. Like, I had no idea, and I'm like, oh my God, who is this man? I love him. I want to be around him all the time. Found out he was being a life coach, went home, checked my computer, and there was a message, and I found out, and he was immediately taken out of my life. The guy that I lived with the guy who broke up with me by just not coming home. But because of that led to me having my first one-on-one session with my life coach. And then I did the homework that he gave me for a month, and I was like, whoa, I just changed my whole life off of this. And then the guy that I moved here for, literally, he had me move here. I chose to, but, he encouraged it, and broke up with me 6 days after I got here. And God was like, now you're in the place to find your purpose. Like, everything happens for a reason.
I believe that, and especially when you're on the path to awakening, you start to see these little synchronicities pop up. That's one of the signs that you're like, yes, you can course correct. I mean, that's part of the process. But literally to the hour after that happened to you, it was an hour, right? Or
an hour.
That's not an accident. I don't believe in accidents. I think that, well, accidents happen, sure. But in this situation, it's a clear sign, and signs are truly everywhere. If you pay attention, you'll start to notice them more. So kudos to you for getting that awareness expansion every time and realizing, yes, I know that this is right, and I'm seeing it for the gift that it is, and not that my life is a free fall at this point. I lost that thing. That thing was so important.
Well, and something cool is Michael Beckwith.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you, Michael Beckwith. But he talks about how there are no coincidences. There are things that coincide. And I'm like, oh, I love that. So you can ask yourself, even in relationships or work, whatever, am I colliding with this thing, or is it coinciding with this thing? And
That's
you
a
can
great
feel
question.
the difference. You can feel the difference. Like when you're in a relationship and it's bad passion, there could be bad passion and good passion. A lot of times we think just because there's passion, it's something, just because we have a high emotional state. But when there's bad passion, that's colliding. When there's good passion, it's coinciding.
That's a beautiful thing. I've never heard it put that way. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So much wisdom here from our lady friend.
Okay.
So you mentioned Michael Beckwith as one of the people who inspires you the most. Do you have any great teachers, books, just in general, inspirational type people that you want to share with the Lighthouse Haven community that helped you along your journey?
Definitely Michael Beckwith. my coach, Preston Smiles, I owe my life to that man.
Whew, that's a big praise right there.
I do. Every time I think about it, honestly, I could cry right now because, like, he changed my life. But the thing is with the coach or anybody that you're looking up to, and, like, I'm upset. My clients are going to get it later today. But, like Preston, can I swear on here?
Sure.
It's a no bullshit thing. You're there because you want to make a change. You're either going to make a change or you're not. And if you're showing up to something to not make a change, you're just wasting your time and your money. And you're wasting your coach's time. So just don't show up until you're ready to make a change. And so I didn't change my life just because Preston was in it. Mm-hmm. I had to adhere and take the knowledge and wisdom that he was giving me and applying it to my life. So all of the tools that he has given me has completely flipped my life around. His wife, Chelley Canales, she is a powerhouse of a woman too. I mean, she's like I like to think that we're Wonder Women, but she's like a little bit closer, I have to say, than we are. She does every single thing for her business. I've built my website and all of that. It's taken me a lot longer to figure it out because my my genius and my patience is not with technology.
Understood.
She loves it. She loves it. So every single piece, any back end thing, every single thing for their programs, she figures out and creates on top of coaching people. But she's an awesome one. And who else do I love?
Put the links below for all of the people that you mentioned here so you can also get a taste of what lights Jacqui up with inspiration, because I think that really, it helps me anyway. It helps drive what I want to do, and it helps give fuel to the fire that is this work that we each feel we're called to do. So, you know, you've got to give a shout out to those who inspire us.
Joe Brown, Les Brown. There's like so many people.
Well, if you think of more, let me know. And
I'll let you know.
I'll put them below as well. So you've created your life's work around this process that you've gone through. You've learned so much. It's in your heart to help other people, which again is that light worker that I mentioned previously. You're raising your vibration, and everyone around you, by the work that you put out there, is also working to raise theirs. You know, your students will get there, and it's you know, you can bring them to water, but it's ultimately their choice to drink. There's got to be that switch that goes off and says, I'm ready. So what is it that drew you to saying, I want to create my program Burn, and I want to help people? What do you want to help them with, and how do you do that?
Well, since I was a little girl, I've always been the inspirer and the motivator. That's just what felt natural for me. And I didn't know that life coaching was a thing until I met Preston, who was my surf instructor at the time. That's how I met him. And once I found that out, I was like, this is what I want to do. Other than acting, this is what I want to do. But I had my own limiting beliefs. And then I went through all of those breakups and all of these things. But all of those things led me to have a breakdown strong enough in order to be like, okay, I'm ready to face these voices in my mind so I can do what lights me up and spread what I've naturally been gifted with the rest of the world. So after I did a super, super deep work, 6 months straight, 24/7, I was chatting with you. I'm like, there's got to be an edge. There's got to be an edge. And I walked in my front door and it was like, breakups. Like, I don't know where it came from. Just the universe.
You were collecting info.
Breakups. And I'm like, I would literally pay $1 million for a program after some of my breakups. And because this one here held my hand, and we jumped together, and she helped me start to create that. And then from there, our vision started molding on what we actually wanted them to look like. And so I really focus on breakups and singles. That's my passion. I help anybody that I feel that I can help. If I don't feel like I can help you, I will always refer you to somebody that I think can. But in general, breakups and singles is my passion because I've been there, and I see what it's like, and I feel for the single population right now, because it went from something that was okay to something that most of us dread. And it has to do a lot with people being fearful of vulnerability because they've been through something traumatic, they haven't dealt with it, they don't want to feel it again. Or they jump from relationship to relationship, and then there's all these other little hearts that get broken along the way, and theirs gets broken even more, and it's just a mess. And so I'm like, someone's got to step in and do something about this, and nobody did, so here I am.
And you're speaking from experience, and it's so satisfying to hear, you know, a story of somebody who's been through what you've been through and have learned the lessons that you've learned and want to share them. So it makes me very invested in wanting to do the work myself, because I know that you've done it, you're doing it, and it's an ongoing journey. Those of us who teach, a lot of times we're teaching the things that we most need to learn, or are continuing to learn, or have done a lot of research and learning in. And I think that is what makes us qualified to talk about it and lead as well. And so I'm thankful, you know, to have you in my life. Jacqui's also been inspirational to me in terms of making my leap as well. It wasn't just in the breakup situation, but, you know, I was going back and forth a lot in terms of I need to quit my job, I need to start a new life, I need to recalibrate. And I would just torture myself over it because this was going on and going on. And she's like, girl, you were talking about this last time we talked. You were talking about this the time before that we talked. How many times have we been talking about this? I'm like, I know. So thank you for helping me to jump on my path as well. And as you mentioned, we've kind of gone on our own trajectories with what's really in our hearts to share the most. So it's a great thing. Everybody,
but that's love.
That's
you
love.
know, like that's love. Like friends who care about each other do it. Like I was ready to jump before Chelley was ready to jump, and she was like, girl, just go. I'm like, are you sure? Like I needed the permission, you know, but I also loved her. But she's like, go. And she held my hand and I jumped. And then in return, I love you so much. I'm like, girl, I know what's on your heart. Like it wasn't to be mean, but sometimes we need that like tough love. We need that little push. I'm here for you, but go.
You better jump, you know, get in that pool.
I'm kicking you. No.
Yeah, I'm going to push you off. And what's so interesting about this process is I was like, yes, I jumped, I did the thing. And then there was another cliff. And then there was another cliff, and the cliffs don't stop coming.
No.
So one thing I just want to let you all know, when you're going through this process of, you know, rediscovering yourself, of awakening, it's a lifelong commitment. You don't get a pass because you did it one time. The work will keep showing up, and the challenges will keep asking you to go beyond your comfort zone. So trust that it doesn't get, you know, super easy or simple, but there are things about it that are going to feel so much more easy and simple once you do get into the habit of breaking down those barriers, starting again, doing more. Okay, that didn't work, I'm going to try this, and feeling okay with it instead of judging yourself and saying like, wow, I really failed. I guess I should just go in a corner. I started teaching yoga again. I maybe did that for 2 months. Maybe I realized quickly that's not where my energy should be right now. I did a retreat for women. Absolutely loved it, adored it. Each time I tried to do it again, I ran into this resistance, and I was like, what is it? And I just kept getting the message, your energy is meant to be put in a different way. So learning to be okay with that is key. So what course corrections have you run into your life? And if you have any advice for people who are going through this as well?
Yeah, well, one thing that I always tell my clients, piggybacking off of what you just said, that is exactly what I thought self-development was. I thought like, okay, I worked on this thing, check. Now let's go on to the next thing, and this is never going to bother me ever again. It's not how life works. We're still human beings. We still have memories. We still have emotions. The thing is awareness. Awareness is the key. So once we're aware of the things that we're doing and why, then we can make a new choice. And just like you said, without judgment, okay, I just caught myself doing that. Do I want to keep doing that? Or what would be a more effective decision moving forward? If an emotion comes up and you're upset about something that you've already dealt with, it's, okay, if my body needs to feel this right now, I'm going to let myself feel it. And then usually it passes, because emotions are just energy in motion. They're meant to come through, we experience them, and then we leave. And a lot of times they come through and we're like, that's not a good one, let's shut it down. And then we're going to carry it everywhere and attract everything that matches the energy, because like attracts like. Did that answer your question?
Completely, yes. Yes, the awareness is a huge key to doing this, and the forgiveness of oneself, saying, okay, you know what, it's not something to be angry about, it's something to celebrate. Because if you do keep shoving it down, it's going to manifest in really unhealthy ways, and it might explode at one time. So if you have the strength to look at it and deal with it before you release it, then it's going to be a lot less likely to come back. And when it does, you've seen it before, and you're like, okay, I got this. I've got better tools, I have better resources, and I have people around me who are willing and able to help me.
Yeah.
So community is a big deal too.
And it will manifest in other ways, because, you know, right after I created one of my programs, Burn, all of a sudden I had a realization, and that one was about breakups. I had a realization that I wasn't over one of my breakups. And I didn't know that I had never dealt with it ever before. And so I felt like a hypocrite because I just created burn and I had this breakup that I wasn't over. But then I got to do burn as a client to make sure that it worked before I gave it to the public. And sure enough, it did, because I needed 3 to 5 hour long naps every single day for 3 years straight. And I had no idea why. It took sometimes, I would be like this, we go to brunch, and then we're supposed to go to a baseball game one day, and I was like, I'm just gonna go home and change. And literally, not exaggeration, I'd be like I can't move. And I would lay there and pass out for 3 to 5 hours. And then one day I was driving my car, and I had to turn left. And it took every single thing that I had in my body to turn my steering wheel left. And I called my mom sobbing. I'm like, Mom, I can't do this anymore. Like, the doctors tell me I'm normal. I've had blood work done. This is not normal. I'm a high energy person. Started seeing a functional medicine doctor. I had supplements that lined my counter. My adrenals were almost completely depleted. My hormones were that of a postmenopausal woman, which is normal for birth control, but birth control doesn't affect testosterone, and my testosterone was almost gone. And then the good bacteria in your digestive tract, which is also like your second brain, I think normal is something 120 to 280 units. I had 12. It's just like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Your symptoms aren't lining up, but like there's definitely something wrong with you. When I started burn, one of the first steps is a clearing, where you deal with these emotions that you have inside. And for 7 hours, I screamed and beat things up like a yoga mat, not like people. And dealt with all this anger that I didn't know what was inside my body on a Sunday. And the following Friday, I saw my functional medicine doctor, and she's like, I don't know, Jacqui. And I was like, I have something to tell you. I just screamed for 7 hours on Sunday. And I haven't needed a nap since then. I haven't needed naps since that was years ago. It was all built up emotion that I had stored inside of me that I didn't want to face because I wanted to be strong. And literally my body was shutting down. Like I was dying from the inside out. And that's why it's so important to deal with these things when they come up. Because looking at me, you would have thought I was like a totally normal, fine person.
Wow, that's quite a story. Thank you for sharing it. It's an experience that has informed you moving forward. So how valuable is that? It's so valuable. Our bodies are so very wise. And so I encourage each of you to kind of do a little scan, do a little mental checkup on what's going on with my body right now. Is my tiredness more than usual? Do I get headaches all the time when I walk into work? Do I feel this backpack carrying sensation? Do I just want to, flee? Do I have a fight or flight response at all times? These are all things that are information that can inform you what might be wrong. So it's a huge deal not to brush them to the side. Let's look at them together.
You know what they're talking about now?
What?
And I haven't researched this a lot yet, but I want to.
Yeah. How
every single one of our cells is conscious.
I have heard that, and I'm on board. Completely.
I am too.
Yeah.
Like think about goosebumps and stuff. You know, when you hear something, you and I know it's true.
Yeah.
But it's literally our cells that are conscious, that are hearing what we're... Now I have goosebumps because it's true.
They're responding on their own.
To what you're saying, letting you know, yep, that's right. That's why you follow your gut. Because it's literally telling you something. And that's why you have to be healthy, because it's your second brain.
So important. Keeping good care of your body, listening to your body. And it's interesting because a lot of... There's some thoughts in society out there that it's not you that has the answers. You have to subscribe to some kind of structure, someone else's idea of what a power system is, and someone else or some other thing has all the answers. You got the answers. There's always much to be learned from the people around us, for sure. But you got to trust this. You have to.
You know what else I just heard by a doctor, a gastro doctor, is that 10% of the nerves and information go from our brain to our gut, and 90% goes from our gut to our brain. So you have to have things in order down here is what I'm hearing. And trust it, because it's literally aware of our environment, and then your gut gives the signal to your brain.
Listen to those guts, people. They're gifts.
Guts
Guts are gifts. Cheers. I feel like you've accomplished a lot with that, saying itself.
That'll be the name of this one.
Guts are gifts. I like it. What is the greatest gift anyone has ever given you spiritually?
My gut. Actually, yeah.
Then yeah. No, let's take that. I
My
like it.
intuition. That somebody else has given me spiritually.
Yeah, if someone came into your life at a certain time, a certain teacher, a friend, it could be your dog, it could be anything.
Well, yeah, one is my dog. My dog, I thought I rescued her, but really she rescued me, and her intuition is on point. Like, that girl, everybody's like, we've never seen anything like it. So her, and there's a woman that when I was going through my major self-development, I prayed to God one night. I live in front of a church, and I prayed to God. There was a party I was supposed to go to, and I wasn't feeling like I wanted to go. It was just like, I don't want to be around these people right now. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but when you're doing a lot of work like that, you're very susceptible to other energy. You're very vulnerable. And I didn't want to be calling in the types of things that they were calling into their life, because I was in alignment with them at the time. And so I'm like, I feel like I should go because we're friends, but I don't want to go. And I was like, God, please give me a sign. Tell me what to do. And I was sitting in, like I said, in my car in front of my church. And then I got out of my car and I thought I saw my neighbor coming out. And so I went to go say hi, but it was this woman that I didn't know. And she's like, do you know the code to the church? And I was like, actually, I just learned it last week. Yeah, here it is. She's like, I've been going to this church for something crazy, like 20 years or something. And she's like, I pulled up and I just couldn't remember the code. She's like, I texted all of my friends that would know it. I've been sitting here for 20 minutes. No one has responded. And then I prayed to God, God, please give me a sign. Let me know what the code is. And so I was like, oh, well, you're welcome. And I was like, actually, I was just praying for a sign too in the car. And I told her, and we got into a conversation, and this conversation ended up leading into an hour and a half in the cold in the middle of my street. And this woman is a vessel for God and prayed for me and knew all of these things about me that I did not tell her. She was a complete stranger, and gave me exact visuals and signs, all the goosebumps, and signs from God and exactly what I needed to do. And in my self-development program, we had to forgive somebody. And there was a person in my life that I was like, no, I deserve to hate them. Like, I deserve to, like, they've been a horrible human being. I deserve to hate them. And so I was like, I can't be that person. So I'm like, who else is going to be? And this lady, she didn't know that I needed to forgive somebody. And she's like, told me the exact person that God wanted me to forgive.
The name.
Well, it was...
I mean, no, I'm not asking you to say
yeah.
But she said the name to you?
Mm-hmm. Wow. The exact person. She's like, God wants you to forgive this person. And I was like, for all she knows, like, that person could be, like, my best friend, or what? Like, how does she even know to bring this up, you know? And I was like, literally, I was thinking, I'm like, I'm not a journaler. She told me all this stuff. And I'm like, when I go home, I need to write all this down. She's like, and now I see you going in your house and you're writing. And I'm like, oh my God.
You don't know me. You do. You know me.
And now she's been this constant in my life for like 3 years now. And whenever I need something, she prays for me in tongues, which is super cool. And she gets these visuals, and it's literally exactly what I need to hear, exactly what I'm going through. And it's been such an incredible blessing to have her in my life.
You'd be surprised what can show up when you're ready for it. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Will you tell everyone at home how they can get in contact with you, learn more about your programs, and Burn, of course?
Yeah.
It's an exciting program.
Instagram. So everything basically is just my name. So Instagram is Jacqui, JACQUI _ Pugh, PUGH. Facebook is...
And I'll put all this below too, so you
Yeah.
can click right through.
Facebook.com/Let'sGetUnzipped is my business page. My website is Jacqui Pugh Unzipped. Unzip because it's a little provocative, but it means unzip your heart and your soul, so I catch you.
Yeah, she lures them in.
Lure you in. And then I have a podcast called Let's Get Unzipped. So
Well,
you can find me on any of those.
very exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed your time with Jacqui today. I know I did. And if you have maybe one little piece of advice or word of encouragement, or more than one word of encouragement for our community out here, what would you like to share?
I'm going to give two things. Piece of advice. Best piece of advice I've ever been given was by a friend. And she said, never give your opinion unless it's asked for. Take a moment to think about that. Never give your opinion unless it's asked for. I realized, oh my gosh, I give up my opinion like candy. And I hate when people give me their opinion and I don't want it. This allows for, Chelley, do you want my opinion on that? Yes or no. If I give it and she's not ready, she's going to get defensive. And then what I have to say is going to go out in one ear and out the other. If she's ready to accept it, now we can have an awesome conversation. Number two, don't listen to what anybody has to say about your dreams or your goals in life. And ask yourself, has this person been where I want to go? And if they haven't, their opinion probably is not in alignment with you because they're on a different track in life. Stay focused. There's going to be people that are going to put you down. There's going to be people that are super, super close to you that you would never imagine are not supportive of you. I'm sure you've experienced this too. And you're like, what? But those are all tests on your commitment to yourself and your purpose for being here. And so just keep pushing through because your message is not meant for everyone. The people that love you, that aren't supporting you, they don't get it because your message isn't meant for them. So keep doing it, and the people that are meant to hear it will.
Very wise. Thank you so much, Jacqui, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure, and thank you for joining us on Lighthouse Conversations.